Hey everyone, this episode will be the final episode of the first season of this podcast because I need time to finalize a lot of little stuff for the channel and the podcast, and that will take some time. Thanks to everyone who's been with me this past 6 months. You are awesome. You mean so much to me. You have no idea. And there's no need to be sad because I'll be back with a new season on March 3rd and everything will be better and bigger. So, without further ado, let's finish this season with a bang. In the words of the legendary chef and my personal hero, Anthony Bourdain, food is everything we are. It's an extension of a nationalist feeling, ethnic feeling, your personal history, your province, your region, your tribe, your grandma. It's inseparable from those from the get-go. Welcome to Every Dish a Story, a podcast about a place of food in our lives and what it meant to our ancestors. I'm your host, Kat, and I'm going to take you to a new location every 2 weeks to connect to who we are. Did you know that Jollof rice is the only delicacy that causes the rift between Africans, no matter where they are? Welcome to Every Dish a Story, episode 12. I'm your host, Kat, and today we're going to West Africa. West African cuisine is a mystery to many, but historically it is one of the most influential food cultures in the world. The first human settlement in West Africa is believed to be around 4000 BCE, and the roots of West African cuisine certainly go back to that point. Many of the local vegetables and spices that characterize West African cuisine, such as rice, sweet potatoes, plantains, and cassava, were already present thousands of years ago. During the colonial period, West Africans traded regularly with Europeans in the Mediterranean, bringing cotton and precious metals to Europe in exchange for all the wonders of the New World. European explorers brought staple foods such as rice, black-eyed peas, and okra to Europe, and tomatoes and peppers and peanuts to West Africa. The influence of West African cuisine on the world's food today is undeniable. West African cuisine uses rice, black-eyed peas, and okra as its main ingredients. In the southern United States, there are several Creole cuisines that originated from West African cuisine, due to the slave trade that brought millions of West Africans to the United States. The cola nut, which originated in West Africa, was used to produce caustic water by the West African slaves on their lengthy trip over the Atlantic Ocean to the United States. And no other ingredient reflects the profound significance of West African cuisine quite like it. The world's most famous soft drink, Coca-Cola, is made from cola nuts and has become an iconic part of American food and drinking culture. So you see, West Africa is the source of many cuisines that we think of as American, West Indian, and even European. But referring to West African food as a whole is quite deceptive. West Africa is no exception, with many ethnic groups living in the same country, each with its own distinct cuisine. This is most likely due to the fact that during the colonial period, European colonizers established their own borders and separated tribes disregarding existing regions. However, several distinct tastes and ingredients distinguish West African cuisine as a whole and are popular throughout the region. Chili peppers. Many people are surprised by the spiciness of West African cuisine when they first try it. Chili peppers were brought to Africa by European explorers and soon became a mainstay in the cuisine. People discovered that chili peppers cool the body by making it sweat. The characteristic fruity hotness of chili peppers has become a staple ingredient in West African cuisine. While it is impossible to list all the spices used in West African cuisine, there are particularly noteworthy and distinctive ones, such as guinea pepper, also known as grain of paradise, which is a seed that is widely distributed throughout West Africa. It has a spicy flavor with notes of cardamom and coriander. Uda bean pods are the fruit of a tree that grows in a rainforest and are often used in Senegal to flavor stews or for smoking and later used to flavor Senegalese coffee known as café touba. West African cooks have also created their own broth substitute called sumbara and use it in the place of the familiar cubes and liquid. To make the paste, the seeds are first boiled to remove the outer skin, washed and then fermented to impart pungency and umami flavor. Since boa seeds have become scarce and difficult to process, soybeans are more commonly used in West Africa now, and the process is very similar to making miso in Japan. And of course there is rice. Rice, one of the oldest and most basic foods in West Africa, has been cultivated for at least 3,000 years. It is served as a side dish to meat, fish and vegetable dishes such as jollof rice, Senegalese tiaboudien, and Ghanaian wachi, and is a staple of the region's most famous dishes. Although the West African diet is not as rich in vegetables as it once was, vegetables still play an important role in every meal. Sweet potatoes, yams, plantains, and cassava are most commonly used in West African cuisine. Cassava, yams, and plantains are mashed into fufu, a starchy dough-like substance enjoyed with soups and sauces. Simply form a ball with your fingers, put an indentation in it, and then scoop soup into the indent and enjoy. Man, sounds like a dream, doesn't it? Green leafy vegetables are also consumed, such as pumpkin, cassava, baobab, and sweet potato leaves. And of course, black-eyed peas can be found in everything from rice to akara fritters, which are deep-fried bean cakes. Meat and fish have traditionally played a much smaller role in the diets of West Africans than they do today. Originally, the diet consisted mainly of vegetables. Because of its proximity to the Atlantic Ocean, a wide variety of seafood is available all along the West African coast, which can be eaten raw or dried and smoked to make fish sauce and seasonings to flavor soups and stews. The most popular meat in West Africa is hands down chicken, which is eaten in almost every region. Goat is the most common red meat, and the further inland you go, the more beef, pork, and mutton you will find. Beef suya, which has skewers of meat seasoned with hot peanuts, is one of the most popular grilled dishes in Nigeria. And this is where we meet the star of our show, jollof rice. In West Africa, jollof rice is one pot rice dish that is extremely popular. A description of West African cuisine would be incomplete without including jollof rice. Yet this is another illustration of the difficulty in generalizing about a region's cuisine. Jollof rice can be made in a variety of ways by people from many ethnic groups and nations. And the heated argument persists between Nigerians and Ghanaians over which country creates the greatest jollof rice and so has the right to call it their own. You see, jollof rice is the undisputed king of West African kitchens, thanks to its enticing fragrance, deep red color, and spicy flavor. It is a dish that holds a special place in people's hearts and is a true reflection of who they are. But be careful, because in West Africa, uttering the term jollof is enough to set up a passionate feud. That's because deciding which West African country produces the best jollof is a constant source of local pride and debate. Jollof in West Africa is what risotto is to Italy, biryani is to India, and paella is to Spain. Jollof is consumed at every family get-together, birthday party, coming-of-age ceremony, engagement party, and weddings. This hearty, savory dish is made with rice, tomatoes, onions, and aromatic spices, and served as a main course. It's very common for these base ingredients to be layered with ginger, garlic, and thyme, grains of salim, tomato puree, and curry powder, although the specific components in preparation range from nation to country, and even from house to house. Each jollof dish is unique, although they all have a distinct flavor. Onion flavor is crucial because of its savory sweetness. The importance of seasoning cannot be overstated. You may get a quite unique profile from whatever type of meat you choose, from mutton to beef to chicken to goat to lamb. When the meat is done cooking, it is seasoned and carefully simmered in stock, and then fried and returned to the stock. Afterwards, the rice is put to the pot with the meat, the stock, and the spicy sauce, and cooked until it has absorbed all the flavorful liquid. Mauritania, Senegal, and the Gambia were all members of the ancient Wolof, also known as Jollof Empire, during the 1300s, when jollof rice first appeared. In this region, rice farming thrived, and the cuisine known as tiabudjen, which is rice, fish, shellfish, and vegetables, was born. Over time, the Jollof people spread throughout the region, bringing their delicious rice meal with them wherever they went. Very few meals in the region have generated as much controversy as jollof rice, despite its widespread consumption. Every country in West Africa has at least one variety of jollof, a dish that both divides and unifies the continent. The furious competition taking place on social media, at parties, and on the street may be rooted in the fact that each nation and family adds their own twist and interpretation. It's the most epic food beefs of all time, says the Black Foodie website, which investigates food and culture through a black perspective, and calls it as, quote-unquote, one of the most interesting and passionate food arguments. Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Cameroon are the top contenders in a heated competition over who creates the best jollof rice. But it's the Gambia and Senegal that gave the world jollof, so they are quite laid back about it. There are as many parallels as there are differences when it comes to the recipes that are passed down orally from generation to generation. To enhance the flavor of smoked and dried fish, the natives of Nigeria and Liberia often substitute palm oil for vegetable oil in their cuisine. In Nigeria and Cameroon, red peppers are typically added to the base ingredients of onions, tomatoes, and chili to add color and a hint of sweetness. Jollof can also be given a wood-fired flavor by adding smoked paprika from these two countries. In the Gambia and Senegal, smoked snails are a common element in jollof, a very traditional dish. The jollof war between Ghana and Nigeria is undoubtedly the most intense cuisine argument within any diaspora, says Nigerian food writer Gigi Majiri Boma. Each country believes that their jollof rice is the superior to the others, and this animosity shows no signs of easing up anytime soon. The type of rice utilized makes a significant distinction. When it comes to rice, long grain and aromatic basmati are the two of the most popular varieties in Ghana and Nigeria respectively. Neither country takes offense to this light-hearted banter, which they perceive as a friendly contest of words in which one side attempts to wear down the other. Nigerians and Ghanaians are reunited as a result of their long-standing rivalry, according to Ugboma. The dynamic of siblings tormenting each other is akin to the love language between the two countries. One time, even Akon, a Senegalese musician, has jumped into the fray, declaring that Liberian jollof is the greatest. Sister Deborah, a Ghanaian musician, produced an anthem called Ghana Jollof in 2016 with the lyrics that refer to Ghanaian jollof as yummy and Nigerian as funny. Pierre Tian, the Senegalese chef who manages the Teranga restaurant in New York City, thinks that this squabbling is both amusing and insightful. He says that it would be wonderful if all conflicts were waged in the spirit of the Jollof War. There should be no bloodshed. And there will never be a victor in this argument either, because everyone thinks that their mother's cooking is superior. There's little doubt that West Africans' affection for the cuisine can unite them, notwithstanding their differences of views. When famous chef Jamie Oliver prepared jollof rice and released his recipe on his website in 2014, the internet went crazy. And the jollof conflict had been forgotten by the people of West Africa. They were so outraged that they all dropped what they were doing, joined hands, and boycotted the Jamie Oliver's website as a protest. See, no one was going to interfere with a culinary treasure, no matter how much they disagreed about whose jollof was the best in West Africa. A bunch of Twitter hashtags, including hashtag JollofGate, were launched. Although Oliver insisted that his jollof was his own take on the dish, many people were so put off by the inclusion of lemon, coriander, and parsley in Oliver's recipe. If this went unchecked, Africans feared that if Oliver's version of jollof rice went unquestioned, it might easily become the official jollof rice. In the end, however, the jollof dispute has been a beneficial one, and has raised interest in West African cuisine and raised public understanding. As predicted by Whole Foods, the top 10 fastest-growing food trends for 2020 included traditional West African flavors such as peanuts and lemongrass, grains like fonio and sorghum, and superfoods like moringa, which are becoming more and more prevalent in food and beverage products. Jollof has also appeared everywhere since then, as though a reawakening in the diaspora. Food festivals and competitions for the jollof dish have been organized in Washington, D.C. and Toronto, Canada, and in Nigeria. Since 2015, the 22nd of August has been designated as World Jollof Day, and social media has been flooded with photos and videos of the dish. More and more African restaurants throughout the world are expanding their jollof menus to include new varieties and interpretations. West African restaurant Ikoi in London serves their smoked jollof rice topped with crab custard, while New York City's Senegalese Teranga restaurant serves jollof rice reimagined as an ancient vegan bowl with a sweet potato and black-eyed peas stew, an organic red palm fruit oil stew, and spicy plantains. For West Africans, jollof rice is more than a colorful and appetizing rice meal that they may argue over. It connects to their rich cultural history and will always hold a special place in their hearts. The fire in the jollof kitchen continues to burn as we move closer together. It may surprise you that the 3-star ingredients of jollof rice, onions, peppers, and tomatoes, actually are not native to Africa. First up, the tomato, which is a member of the nightshade family, is said to have its origins in the Andes mountain range of South America as a little yellow cherry-shaped fruit. Researchers have speculated that indigenous people brought the tomato north to present-day Mexico and Central America and began cultivating it around 500 BCE, when it was first domesticated. The indigenous Aztecs of Mexico called the fruit tomatil, and they used both the flesh and the seeds for divination. Peppers, also a member of a nightshade family, have a similar origin story, but their domestication can be traced back to 5000 BCE. They managed to travel out to the islands of the Caribbean Sea, as well as through Central America and Mexico. Columbus and Cortés, both pirates hired by the Spanish rulers, and the Portuguese constructed commercial routes that allowed them to travel to Africa. Columbus, a pirate who was looking for a shortcut to Asia, ended up in the Caribbean. He committed genocide against the indigenous Taino people of Jamaica when their hospitality ran out. He took advantage of the free harvest that had been supplied to him and his men and shipped them back to Europe. The pepper was the only one he took with him. The Columbian Exchange was later used as a name for this flow of products. Cortés, also a Spanish pirate, set sail for Mexico in 1519, just like his predecessor. His heinous deeds not only brought the tomato to Spain, but they also paved the way for the collapse of the Aztec Empire. Europeans were skeptical at first, but when the fruit finally was proven to be safe, has thrived in countries like Spain, France, Italy, and Portugal. Prior to the arrival of Columbus and Cortés, Portuguese traders established naval links between Europe, Asia, and Africa across the Atlantic Ocean. They learned a great deal about the Senegambia's favorable ecosystem and enhanced trading operations as a result of their time there. Portugal was also significantly involved in the Indian Ocean rice trade in the mid-1500s. They introduced wet rice types from Asia that were suited for the region's tropical climate, as well as the tomato from Europe. And although rice and other sorghum and millet were already grown in the area south of the Senegambia River, the rice output was enhanced by the introduction of Asian rice varieties. Most of the time, Asian kinds of rice are utilized in the recipe for jollof these days. The onion is the final essential component in jollof. It's proven difficult to trace the onion's ancestry since it degrades with little to no carbon imprint. Although we do know that onions have been used in ancient Egypt since 3500 BCE. Wild variations have been found as far back as 4000 BCE in both North America and China. It's still unclear how the onion got to West Africa, but as people like to say, thank God it made it. So this is how the main ingredients arrived in the area. And it's the Senegalese cooks who are the real geniuses behind this culinary combo. When Pendambaye, a local hairdresser and cook from Teranga, ran out of the European imported barley, she decided to substitute rice for it. She's also credited to being the first person to write about the dish in the 19th century. The dish in question is called tieboutien by the Senegalese and consists of fish, vegetables, and a type of rice known as jollof. It's always sad when researching my favorite dishes that I love to cook myself and hold a significance for me. It's always sad. It's bittersweet to learn how these dishes, how these ingredients came to be and how they traveled. It's just through genocide and slavery. It's sad. It's really heartbreaking because on one hand, I am so happy that we have these dishes and we have this exchange that happened. But the way that it happened is just, I wish it was different. But anyway, on this note, I'd like to end the dive into West African cuisine. And of course, I invite you to my YouTube channel and learn how to cook jollof rice and also Nigerian chicken. Nigerian chicken is very close to my heart. I used to live with my boyfriend and his sister back in England many years ago. And they used to cook this chicken stew all the time. And when we parted ways, we exchanged recipes. I got the chicken recipe and they got a plov recipe, which I will talk about in the future. So guys, if you're listening, shout out to you. Choppy, Shalapi, miss you guys. So this is a beautiful thing, how people from completely different cultures come together and exchange their cuisines, and then now I have people in Nigeria cooking up plov, and here I am in Russia cooking Nigerian chicken and jollof rice. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing. So anyway, this is the final episode for the first season. I'll be back in 4 weeks on March 3rd. And in the meantime, continue to eat well, train your body, and also love cats. And please recycle your garbage when you can. And wherever you are in the world, I do hope that you are safe and that you are healthy. Please take care of yourself and those around you. Bye-bye for now, and I'll be back on March 3rd with a new season of traveling.